Hey guys, welcome to Minnesota Twins Franchise. It's episode number 55, and today we start the 2017 season with the 2017 roster episode where we're going to look at the roster going into the season. First, let's take a look at the 2016 draft. The Minnesota Twins in the first round select Manuel Garcia. They skipped the second round. The third round they got Brian Kaw. His potential is a C. Ray Douglas in the fourth round. Also a C, Marco Cairo in the fifth round. Herbert De La Rosa in the sixth round. And in the seventh and final round, relief pitcher Carlos Chavez. All of those guys, except for the first rounder, have a potential as a C, and that's not a great draft class for the Twins. We look at the starting rotation coming into spring. Tyler Duffey had a chance to be the starter. He has been moved to the bullpen. Jose Barrios, a young player to keep your eye on. He has been optioned to AAA Rochester, where he will start the season. He did have some success with the Twins at the end of last season as a September call-up, and he had a pretty good spring. As you look at some of his highlights from the spring, here he struck out Andrew McCutchen of the Pittsburgh Pirates. So, Jose Barrios, somebody to keep your eye on. The opening day starter for the Twins will be Phil Hughes. He pitched a no-hitter in 2016 for the Twins. The second starter will be Kyle Gibson. The third starter, Alex Meyer, is a player to keep your eye on going into this season. He broke into the starting rotation last season in place of Tyler Duffey as the fifth starter, and he had quite a bit of success for the Twins in that role. That experience was good for him, so he has broke through the 70 barrier. He is in the 80s rating-wise, so the experience must have paid off being in the starting rotation for the Twins last year. He is your third starter in the rotation this year, as he has moved ahead of the fourth starter, Irvin Santana, who has dropped to 78. He is on the downhill slope of his career. The fifth starter will be Tyler Chatwood, and he is essentially a placeholder until Jose Barrios is ready to move into the rotation. The bullpen for the Twins, the long relievers, Tyler Duffey moved from the starting rotation last year to the bullpen. He is a long reliever, will be used in certain situations. Trevor May, also a long reliever. Look at middle relief for the Twins. There was a lot of players in the mix for this. Michael Tonkin, who spent most of last year with the Twins, has been optioned to AAA Rochester. Justin Miller picked up in the offseason, also optioned to AAA Rochester. Your middle relief for the Twins roster, Kevin Segrist, the lefty. Fernando Abad, also a lefty. So a couple of left-handed specialists. And then Jim Johnson, the right-handed pitcher in the middle relief for the Twins, will start the season. As we look at the setup guys in the bullpen for the Twins, we have a left-handed setup guy and a right-handed setup guy. JT Chargois was in the mix for the right-handed setup role, but he has been optioned to AAA, where he will start the season. Brandon Kitzler wins the right-handed setup guy job. Sean Marshall will be the left-handed setup guy, the 34-year-old former Cincinnati Reds player. Closer, Jeurys Familia is gone. Jake McGee is in as the closer. He's got a clutch rating of 81. That should bode well for the Twins. We'll see how he does in that role. On to the everyday players, the catchers. Juan Centeno, optioned to AAA Rochester. He spent a lot of the year up with the Twins last season. John Ryan Murphy will be your backup catcher. And Mike Zunino wins the starting catching job in the spring. Maybe a change of scenery will be good for him, as the Twins actually picked him up in the Rule 5 draft from the Seattle Mariners. So because he was a Rule 5 pick, he will have to stay on the Twins Major League roster all season or be sent to waivers. But he had a very good spring, as you see a home run there by Zunino. He had a fantastic spring. He's going to win the job, go into opening day as your starting catcher. Although I don't believe that the catcher position is settled for the Twins. We go to first base. Kenny Vargas has been optioned to AAA Rochester, where he will start the season. Byung-Ho Park wins the backup first base job. He will also spell Miguel Sano as the designated hitter, as well as spell Joe Mauer at first base occasionally. It would be nice if he did more of that, though, besides just hit for powers, just get base hits. Joe Mauer is your starter at first base. Once again, we all know who the second baseman is. It is Brian Dozier. He is 89 overall, a lot of power, a lot of very good durability. and we'll see if he stays with the Twins all season long. At third base, Charlie Culberson spent a lot of the time with the Twins last year, has been optioned to AAA Rochester. The Twins picked him up from the Dodgers in a trade last season. They picked up Luis Valbuena, a free agent from the Houston Astros, who will be your opening day starter at third base. Luis Valbuena wins the job in the spring. He will be the starter at third on the hot corner. A decent glove, a decent hitter. Not a star by any means, but he can hold his own at third base, which is where he will start. And that will bring us to the shortstop position, where the Twins had several options here as well. Nick Gordon, probably the future shortstop of the team, has been optioned to Double-A Chattanooga to work on his game. Eventually he will be the Twins' shortstop of the future. Jorge Polanco optioned to AAA Rochester, and your starter is Eduardo Nunez. In the outfield for the Minnesota Twins, several young players. Max Kepler optioned to AAA Rochester. He's overall a 73. Robbie Grossman also optioned to Rochester. He is a 70 overall. Emilio Bonifacio has made the big league club as a utility outfielder and infielder. He had a very good spring for the Twins and won the job a lot because of his versatility. He can play all the outfield positions and most all of the infield positions except for first base. So Emilio Bonifacio makes the team. Miguel Sano is your designated hitter. Starting right fielder will be Eddie Rosario. Starting in center field will be Byron Buxton. He's the catalyst for the offense and has the wheels, as you see this stolen base of third here in spring training against the Tampa Bay Rays. So Buxton brings his speed. He'll hopefully get on base more often this year and be able to get things going for the Twins. Danny Santana will be your starter in left field. And that's your roster for the Minnesota Twins as we get set to open up the 2017 season. Phil Hughes is on the mound to face the Angels on opening day. Kyle Gibson and Andrew Haney will go in the second game. Alex Meyer, Tyler Skaggs in the third, and Irvin Santana Shoemaker in the fourth.